right, welcome back. That's right. It is the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. This portion of the show brought to you by Infinity, the Math Institute. Give them a buzz. Their number 702-768-1777. We got John Brookhagen in studio. We'll get to him in a second. But you know what? It is Thursday, guys. And you know what that means. That means it's time to jump on with our man, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Mike, how's it going?
What's up, Brian? How are you?
Doing good, man.
Hey, Mikey.
I hate to start off with...
What's up, JD?
John.
I hate to start off with a sad story, but, we talked about this fighter the other day who lost his life. And now, I look at TMZ today and I see another boxer, Hugo Santillan, losing his life at the age of 23. We lose a 28-year-old and now a 23-year-old due to in-the-ring injuries. What can you tell us about this? This is a tragedy, Mike. Mike, did we lose you? Did we lose Mr. Babcock? It must be that L.A. traffic. We'll get him back on the line.
It's gotta be.
We'll get him back on the line.
That's the first time it's ever happened. He's been on the show probably
That's okay.
50 or 60 times.
We'll get him back on the line. But the boxing world now dealing, as I said, with its second tragedy in 1 week. Hugo Santillan, he died in Argentina today after suffering injuries during his fight over the weekend. Just horrible. He fought a man by the name of Eduardo Javier Abreu. This was for the WBC Latino Silver Lightweight title in Buenos Aires on Saturday. The bout ended in a draw. I watched a little bit of the fight on YouTube, and I'm not going to say it was a violent fight, but certainly towards the latter rounds, it certainly looked like Hugo was hurt. He was bleeding from the nose, and it's just really bizarre because I'm watching the end of this fight, and then right as they're about to announce the winner, and by the way, there was no winner. It was a draw. He just sort of loses consciousness. It was really weird. He just lost consciousness, and then boom. So let's get back to Mike Babcock. I think we just lost him there. He must have been on his Obama phone. What's going on, Mike?
Those Obama phones.
No worries, Mike.
Sorry, but Verizon.
Quite all right, my friend. Quite all right. I appreciate you jumping back on with us. So we're talking about this fighter, obviously, who lost his life, and I was given a few details about the fight with Hugo Santillan. We just lost another fighter, a 28-year-old, a few days ago, and now another one in the ring. I mean, it's just horrible. It's tragic.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. 2 in 1 week, so sad. Both guys really young, like you said, 28, 23 years old. I don't know what to say about it, except it's tremendously sad. Did a story earlier in the week with Zab Judah, who is still in the hospital. He was, seriously injured. He's hired an attorney to do an investigation into if anything improper happened with his fight. It's just unfortunate to see these guys being seriously injured, and we all go watch, and it's fun, and we cheer for these guys. But to think somebody loses their life, 2 guys lose their life in a week, it's just terrible.
Did you watch any of the highlights of the Dadashev-Subriel Matias fight?
I did. I saw a little bit of stuff on social media, JD. I did.
I'll tell you, I watched the entire thing, and it was a weird fight. The first 9 rounds, he was definitely losing the fight, but he actually won a couple of rounds. He was never knocked.
Holding his own, right?
He wasn't doing bad. He wasn't doing poorly. But in round 11, in the 3rd minute of round 11, he takes a shot, and his head literally snaps back almost 2 feet. You can see it. You can basically see right there. That's when, in my opinion, that ref should have called that fight right there, because you could see it plain as day that it was a clear whiplash, and this guy was beyond hurt at that point, but he never fell down. And that's the issue, is that these boxers, at least in that situation, he didn't fall down one time.
Right. I think it's a great point. And, people are quick to complain, whether it's in boxing or whether it's in mixed martial arts, that fights are stopped too soon. But this puts everything into perspective.
Exactly.
That we're not talking about a win and a loss like we are in a basketball game. We're talking about literally life and death here. So when people complain, everyone should probably also keep that in mind, that you could be killed, quite literally.
And this guy had a wife and a 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah, it's the bottom line, Mike, and you cover MMA, you cover boxing. We had Al Bernstein, Hall of Famer. We also had referee Joe Cortez in studio this week asking about this issue, and we all agree there's really not much you could have done, at least in that first fight.
No, I think so. I think he could have stopped the fight right where I told you. Brian, I'm telling you, watch it. It's clear as day what happens.
To me, we're Monday morning quarterbacking, and I disagree with you. I think, look, the guy was not wobbly after that hit. He was not wobbly. Now, you could look back. Hold on. You could look back.
Did you watch it?
Yes. You could. I know exactly what you're talking about. You could look back at that punch and say, oh, my God, that's brutal. It's terrible. I agree. But it's what happens the seconds after the punch. He didn't fall down. He wasn't wobbly. He didn't look like he was hurt. And if you don't look like you're hurt, the ref is not going to stop the fight, period. Right? He's just not.
He was taking shots in the abdomen for about 2 rounds before that. He kept hitting him in the abdomen. And when he took that shot, Brian, he was absolutely hurt. And he took 3 more shots after that shot.
Listen, I wish ref.
He took 1 shot with 2 seconds left.
Listen, I wish the ref did call the fight, but all I'm saying is I'm not about to blame him for what happened, because I think you could look at any fight and you could look at a hit like that, a punch like that. But anyway, we all agree it's a tragedy. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports joining us. I want to talk a little bit about Eli Manning, because this is a funny story. I'm not an Odell Beckham fan. He talks a lot of trash. So Eli Manning, I guess you guys caught up with him. I guess he made some comments saying that, hey, I've won a few games before Odell got here. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Odell Beckham gives this moronic interview to GQ magazine and essentially says the Giants have been irrelevant. He was the entire franchise. For some reason, Odell measures the amount of primetime games as if that means anything. The Giants didn't win a damn thing, and I say this passionately as a Giants fan. They did not win a damn thing when Odell was on the team. They went to the playoffs once, one playoff game. That's the week that Odell Beckham went and partied with Justin Bieber in South Florida and wore Timberlands on a boat and then dropped 5 balls during the game. So Odell Beckham did nothing. And the fact that, he would, take it's a shot at Eli Manning, because Eli Manning was his quarterback, right? So the fact that he would take a shot at the Giants and Eli Manning when Eli has 2 Super Bowl wins, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and Odell Beckham doesn't have a single playoff win, I think that was absurd. And Eli is going to take the high road, because that's just the kind of guy.
You are fired up right now, and I love it.
I am.
I love it.
I went crazy earlier in the week. I was so upset at this, because the Giants, the last 5 years with Odell Beckham, they just became everything that I kind of hate about some things about modern sports, and it was all about the celebrations, and it wasn't about winning. I think he had a really negative effect on the team, and I frankly was in favor of trading him. And I don't know how. I don't think the Giants are going to have a big year this year, clearly, but I think from a cultural standpoint, I think it was good to get rid of Odell Beckham. But yeah, Eli Manning takes the high road and says, I won a few games before Odell Beckham got here, which of course he did.
Exactly, including Super Bowls.
Yeah, he won some Super Bowls.
Plural.
I want to move to a subject that certainly gains my interest and many of our listeners. It involves President Trump, and it involves a rapper overseas. And there is a congressman that is calling it complete BS. What can you tell us about this story?
All right, so A$AP Rocky, for 3 weeks now, has been sitting in a Swedish prison. He was over there, and there was a guy, a 19-year-old kid, who was harassing Rocky, and a lot of this is on video. So A$AP Rocky is with his security, with his friends, and there was a group of guys who was following him, and he on video asked the guy, please stop. I don't want to get in a fight. He asked the guy politely to stop. The guy keeps following him. The people pick a fight with A$AP Rocky and actually incite the violence, and then A$AP Rocky and his friends retaliate, and they beat up the other guy.
They clean up.
Right.
Yeah, and Trump has really defended him.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And look, Kanye West called Trump, and Kanye and A$AP Rocky are friends, so there is a little bit of a connection between Trump and A$AP Rocky. But Donald Trump reached out to Sweden, and they essentially told him to kick rocks. They told him, we'll get back to you in a few days, and they didn't do anything. And all the while, 3 weeks, A$AP Rocky is sitting in jail without even being charged, no bail set, because they said that they thought he was a flight risk. He is finally charged. He was facing a possible 6 years in prison. Now they have only charged him with a crime that carries a 2-year sentence. But they are looking to start this trial most likely next week. And A$AP Rocky is facing 2 years in prison for an incident where he was essentially defending himself.
Right.
And this is person now we uncovered today. This guy, this 19-year-old guy, in the same city 3 years ago, he got charged and convicted of assaulting another person. Then end up doing some community service. So you have somebody here who.
So how is this even a conversation?
Violence.
I'll tell you what's going to happen.
I really feel A$AP Rocky is being railroaded here, and I'm not quick to go to that. I like to think things are fair and there aren't any underlying reasons for things, but I don't know what the explanation is for why A$AP Rocky, who was seemingly defending himself, is sitting in jail for 3 weeks and is charged with what he's charged with.
Well, this will be a good way for United States artists to not want to travel anywhere outside of the United States to throw a concert, and these guys make big money on those international tours.
Right. That's a great point, JD. We actually, I don't know that she's the authority on this, but one of our cameramen saw Wendy Williams out and asked her, should American artists boycott Sweden? And she said no, which I could not disagree with more.
100% should.
You have to get, if you want to try to affect some change here, I think you need to get the Swedish people to care about this for one reason or another, and they like American music in Sweden. So if our artists stop going over there, then maybe that is a way to, for the Swedish people to get upset and maybe put some pressure on their politicians, and maybe something gets done. So I really think a boycott is essentially the only thing that, if you're some big musical superstar from America, I think that's about all you can do.
All right. Well, that is Mr. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports joining us. Mike, always appreciate it when you take some time to jump on with us, and have a great weekend, my friend, and we will catch you next week.
Thanks, fellas. We'll talk then.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Mikey.
There you go. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports joining us. Thank you, Mike, very much. We appreciate that. A reminder, again, this segment brought to you by Infinity, the Math Institute. Give them a call. You got a son, a daughter that maybe wants to improve in the field of math. I could probably use this. Give them a call at 702-768-1777. Now, John Brookhagen here in studio from the Math Institute. I believe we have somebody on hold that wanted to ask you a question about the Clark County School District. So why don't we go to Seth? Seth, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Seth, thank you for waiting patiently on hold, my friend. Go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to rattle off some quick numbers for you guys. Out of that, did you say $4.5 billion was the budget?
4.1 and change, so 4.2.
4.2. All right. Here's the total number of schools, and this is I couldn't believe it. 361 schools.
That's a lot.
You got 226 elementary schools, 59 middle schools, 49 high schools, 19 alternate schools, and 8 special schools.
Wow.
With a total of 322,770 students.
It's a lot. It's a lot of schools. That's part of the reason why it's $4.2 billion. But what do you think about what we've been talking about, Seth? I mean, in regards to, trying to save $17 million and cutting deans at schools. I mean, we think the superintendent made the right decision here on cutting deans.
I think that there needs to be a much bigger cut, or there needs to be a fix to the bureaucracy. I mean, I use the number 4.5, which was $12 million per school, even if the school was a small school. I mean, that's a lot of money for a school.
And that's every year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Right. You don't buy a copier and then have to buy another copier next year.
Right.
Right.
And Seth, I was going to tell you, next time I'm on, can you be my producer? I'd like you to text me these stats so I could sound a lot smarter.
Hey, no problem.
I think he's actually 60% serious about that.
Seth, before I let you go, real quick, do you have any kids that are in the Clark County School District?
I don't, and I thank God that I don't.
Well, I hear you, my friend. Seth,
My kids are done grown.
Seth, I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you for those numbers. We appreciate that. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396. Again, 702-257-5396.
You want to hear something funny about the whole thing now? So we're talking about budget problems, and we haven't solved the problem, and their solution now is to implement a budget cut to each school per pupil. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, I think it's, I'm sorry, I'll give you the number unless Seth wants to look up that number for me. But nonetheless, so what they were going to do is they were going to bring in these people that were going to be adult or trying to improve their behavior problems.
Yep.
And they were going to bring in these experts. To replace the 140 deans, they were going to bring in about 35 or 50 of these experts to help with the discipline problems. So now we got the deans back, Licensed student success project facilitator. They were going to replace the deans, and at a fraction of the cost because they're not going to be administrators, and also because there's going to be less of them. Well, guess what? So now we brought the deans back, but we're keeping the licensed student success project facilitators. Plus, and with all due respect to all the hard workers out there, we have got so many guidance counselors, special education assistant instructors. Now we have these success people. There are so many adults that are supposed to be professionals. But then at the same time, we have one nurse covering 3 to 5 different schools. And I just feel like everything is getting so backwards. They keep trying to fix something, and the thing that they're fixing isn't fixing it. The thing that they're doing to fix it isn't fixing it. So they're elaborating on the thing that didn't work, and they keep exponentially making the problem bigger, which is ballooning the budget, giving teachers, leaving less money for teachers, when if the teachers had what they needed in the first place, we wouldn't have so many problems.
I don't think there's any question that the mismanagement of funds is occurring, but I will also say this. I think there are a lot of, and I'm just going to say it, there's a lot of dumb parents out there. Parenting is also a huge problem. I don't think they're doing a good job in making sure that the kids are doing their due diligence in school. I think that is also a big problem, whether it's skipping classes or getting detentions or, not doing your homework, getting home and screwing around and doing things you shouldn't be doing. I think if you have good parenting, I think it puts your children in the best possible chance to succeed in school. Now, with that being said, there are some bad teachers out there. But you know what? There's a lot of good teachers out there, too, that take their jobs very seriously. And I know some of them in this school district. They're not doing it to become rich. They're doing it because they love it. They love working with kids. And I know you do, too, John.
And that's one of the things that makes Infinity so successful is if you're bringing your kid to Infinity, it's because you care about the kid's education. Mm-hmm. And every single parent is involved and wants to know what's going on. And all these kids are surrounded by other kids whose parents are involved and wants to know what's going on. And I understand that this is a luxury. So we offer scholarships and sponsorships. We have a deal with Sobel West Tech, who makes all the linens for the Bellagio and Macau and Atlantic City. Yep. And they've donated a nice chunk of change to provide sponsorships and scholarships. So, obviously, we're looking for people who are looking to spend a little extra money to ensure their child's success. Every single one of our students, 90% of them got an A, yep. The other 10% got a B, including students who came to us with an F.
I was going to ask you, speaking of money, we like to take care of our listeners here. Is there anything you'd like to give away today?
Well, we love, one thing that's been a real success with your show is we've been giving away these supplemental classes. We have supplemental classes going on right now, and the kids that are preparing for these supplemental classes, for example, we got a group of great kids getting ready for pre-calculus. And we are spending 6 weeks, it's like Army boot camp, going over the whole year of pre-calculus, and they're going into the year knowing that they are going to get an A because they know everything before the teacher is even taught about it. They are memorizing all the trig identities. That is what takes up most of the time when kids have to study. Anyway, I'm not going to stop selling it. The bottom line is we have another round of supplemental classes that are going to begin in September, which will run simultaneous with the school semester. Mm-hmm. What happens is we're going to teach you both semesters in one semester 2 times a week, and we're going to give one of those away. And the dates and times are to be determined as of yet, but they're either going to be Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour each. And those classes include everything from elementary and basic math, pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, algebra 1 and 2, pre-calculus, calculus.
And you want to give one of those away now?
And we're going to be glad to give one of those away. Let's make sure we get somebody who can get to the west side of town. We're on the corner of Flamingo and Torrey Pines.
And how much is the value of this that we're going to be giving away?
It's $600.
So right now we're going to give away a $600 class for free. There's no catch here to your child, your daughter, your son to go to Infinity, the Math Institute. This is worth $600. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the third caller right now, 702-257-5396. You call right now. You're the third caller. You're going to win a $600 prize from Infinity, the Math Institute. That's pretty good, valued at $600. Again, let me give out that number one more time. We will take the third caller right now. We'll win a $600 Infinity, the Math Institute scholarship. 257-5396. Call right now. Caller number 3, you are our winner.
And I wanted to tell you guys and the listeners that, $600, that's a 3-month course. It's 24 hours of instruction. So while our competition is charging between $50 and $60 an hour for tutoring, this is the most effective tutoring you can get. And it's coming in at about $24 an hour. So, I mean, you're paying less than half you would pay at the competition, and the results are phenomenal. And it lasts over 3 months. So we accept payment plans, $200 a month for 3 months. And if you call before the school year starts, before August 11th, we're going to give 25% off of all of our services, whether it's 1-on-3 tutoring or the supplemental classes.
That is very, very, very cool.
Yes, themathinstitute.com.
Very, very cool.
I'm going to call him John Mr. Generous Brookhagen from now on.
I like it. I like it.
He's the Santa of education.
I love it. I bring the kids presents every day in the form of screaming at them, especially if they don't know their multiplication.
That's reasonable.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got a lot going on in Las Vegas here. John, I know you coached a freshman basketball team for the Clark County Schools District for a little bit. So we got the WNBA All-Star Game this weekend. This is kind of cool, right? I mean, you got the best female basketball players in the world. And so tomorrow we got a little media luncheon we're going to, and then we're going to watch.
Awesome.
Then we're going to watch both teams practice, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm interested in talking to them about some, I shouldn't say politics, but I guess it is. A lot of these women have been speaking out lately about they want equal pay. And my question to them is, since we're talking about money, if the WNBA is losing money every year,
where is the money coming from?
Right, exactly. So that's what I'm going to ask some of these. I'm going to say, look, somebody might say, how can you make as much money as the men when this is, let's call it what it is, the WNBA, it's not only that they're not making money, they're losing money.
They just need to plant several money trees.
Well,
which typically works.
I'll tell Sue Bird that tomorrow.
A money tree greenhouse of sorts. I think that would do pretty well.
I believe our population is increasingly losing sight of the fact that we are a capitalist nation. And it is supply and demand.
I totally agree.
And let me tell you right now, if there was 400 people lined up outside my door, I'd be charging $1,000 for my supplemental class because I couldn't fit all 400 people in my room, so I would have to find a way to weed it out, and I would get the most money I could get. If somebody's going to pay $10,000, $12,000 for a courtside seat to see the Las Vegas Aces play, well, then she should be getting as much as LeBron. But LeBron demands money. When LeBron comes to U.S. City, people are scammering for tickets. They'll do anything for tickets. I don't care if he's on Cleveland, Los Angeles, or if he's playing for Duke.
And I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. If the crowd is full, right, and people are paying, I have no problem. But listen, Megan Rapinoe is dating Sue Bird. We know that. It's very public. And I think Sue Bird is the one to ask this because, listen, she's been on the trail with Rapinoe lately. And they're talking about equal pay, equal pay. Now, even when we're talking about soccer, the men's soccer team is making a lot more than the women's soccer team, period. Right. Okay? I have no problem with equal pay so long as financially it makes sense. It
100.
Doesn't make sense with female sports, even women's tennis. And by the way, those women are making enormous amounts of money, but they're still not getting the draws that the men get.
But they're making a lot of money. Right. You see, I mean, for example, you talk about Federer, who might be making, $20 million a year, and then you talk about Serena Williams, who might be making $10, $12 million a year.
But she's still doing very well.
She's doing great, and you can't compare Serena to the Aces in the same way you can compare LeBron to Federer.
Well, JD seems to think that the female roller derby they should be put on $10 million contracts. Isn't that right?
That's kind of a private thing. I did have a
conversation. This is porn star, JD.
I did have right. I'm thinking a little different. I did have a very brief conversation with the woman at the Fortuna in the Westgate who was part of the roller derby, and I was.
Did you really?
And she was kind of complaining.
See, I didn't even know that.
Someone had a crush.
She was kind of complaining about the compensation structure, and I said, okay, I think $10 million makes sense.
Right.
Actually, I've never watched the roller derby in person. Have you guys ever watched that? That's got to be a lot of fun.
I used to watch it when I was a kid.
They kick the crap out of each other. That's a fun sport to watch.
I'll tell you what, those women are in shape.
Oh, they're tough. They're tougher. They're tough as nails, man.
They are strong.
They're tough as nails. Listen, my favorite female sport to watch has always been tennis. I have reasons for that, but I think because they don't serve as hard, the points are longer, and they're at times
which makes a great volley and makes it exciting to watch.
More entertaining to watch. But certainly in our lifetime, we're never going to see a female sport make as much as the men's sport. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You got to understand, 20 years ago, there was no WNBA.
Right.
Can we be thankful for what we have? I mean, 20 years ago, Sue Bird, or 40 years ago, she couldn't make a living being the best female basketball player in the world. She couldn't make a living.
I don't know what type of answers I'm going to get tomorrow, but I am going to ask Sue Bird, and I'm going to ask some of the best female players in the world, and I'm going to be extremely respectful because I respect respect what they do. But I'm going to say, look, what would you say to some of the naysayers that would tell you that if the WNBA isn't making even a fraction of what the NBA is making, why do you deserve equal pay as to an NBA player? And I want to see what their answer is.
I've got a friend. And he's played in Europe, he's played in South America, he's played in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
All right? He is he works hard, he's a great basketball player. He is not as good as Chris Paul. Guess who's getting paid more? There's more people going to see Chris Paul play because Chris Paul is better. My friend Chris Moten Jackson, he is a phenomenal player, and people are paying money to see him. So he's making tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Chris Paul is making millions. It's simple supply and demand.
So why is it you think that
and a lot of it comes down to marketing? The NBA has a lot. They have bigger TV deal. They have a lot more. You're seeing their faces so much more than you are seeing the WNBA.
But I understand what you're saying, but I just think it's pretty simple. I think we're overthinking it.
The brand
is
out there.
Right.
Well, and also the quality of the game is obviously better.
Oh, and
clearly. Or not better, not necessarily better, but more exciting.
Wait a minute.
No, it's better.
Wait a minute.
Better.
Wait a minute. Was Danica Patrick making less money than the other racers at NASCAR?
Danica Patrick never won anything. How about Anna Kournikova?
But that's not my point.
Yeah.
Anna Kournikova was playing against women. Danica Patrick went on the biggest stage on the hardest circuit to make.
Right.
And she raced in NASCAR, and she was making top 5 money, and she had never won a race.
Right.
And meanwhile, she was making, because you know why? Because she was playing at the top level of the world. Not men, not women, not transgender, whatever. That was the number 1 racing circuit in the world.
Were you going to say identify as an alien?
Well, I mean, whatever the case may be, if Sue Bird wants to make the same money that the men are making, go play in the men's league.
It's an interesting discussion. We're going to go to the WNBA practices tomorrow. I'm going to ask as many as possible that question, and we're going to play it on the air tomorrow night, and we're going to see what you guys think about it out there. John Brookhagen from Infinity of the Math Institute, thank you so much for coming in. Let me give out the number if you want to. And by the way, who was our winner, Johnny? William. William is our winner, so congratulations. Congratulations, William.
Can I do some plugs?
The number to call if you want to give Infinity of the Math Institute a phone call and sign up your daughter or son, 702-768-1777. Reminder again, this show is moving 9 a.m. to noon. We start on August 12th. We're very excited about that. And, of course, John will be a part of it as well. He'll be joining us on air. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. The legend himself, I know he loves it when I call him that, but he is a legend. Ken Thompson coming up next, everybody. Have a great night.